As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the desolate highway, Sarah and Mark found themselves stranded. Their car, which had served them well for years, suddenly refused to start, its engine a silent testament to their looming misfortune. The couple had no idea why their vehicle had failed so abruptly, but their unease grew when they noticed the dense fog rolling in, shrouding the road in an ethereal haze. They were miles away from any town, surrounded only by eerie silence and the unsettling sight of weathered gravestones on either side of the road. The old graveyards, long abandoned and forgotten, seemed to come alive in the twilight, exuding an otherworldly aura that made Sarah shiver. As they tried to make sense of their situation, the feeling of being watched became overbearing. The fog thickened, and strange, whispered voices began to echo in the still air. Mark decided to explore under the hood, hoping to fix the problem, while Sarah stayed in the car, her heart pounding in her chest. Suddenly, a cold breeze swept through, carrying with it a chilling wail that seemed to come from the graves themselves. Mark's breath misted as he called out to Sarah, but his voice sounded distant, almost swallowed by the encroaching gloom. Shadows moved at the edge of their vision, slithering closer. Inside the car, Sarah fumbled with her phone, desperately trying to signal for help, but her screen remained blank. Her fingers trembled as she saw movement outside the window. It was then that the first ghostly apparition appeared, a translucent figure swathed in tattered burial garments, its eyes hollow and dark. It hovered near Mark, who was obliviously still tinkering with the engine. The figure began to emit a low, guttural growl, making Sarah scream involuntarily. Mark turned just in time to see the specter reaching for him, its hand passing through him with an icy touch that made his skin pale and cold. He stumbled back, terrified, but more apparitions were emerging from the mists, drawn by the couple's fear. They varied in form, some bearing the marks of gruesome deaths, others mere wailing shadows. The haunted highway seemed to pulse with malevolent energy, the air thick with unbridled horror. Sarah dashed out of the car towards Mark, but the ground beneath her felt unsteady, as though the souls of the dead were clawing up to grasp at her feet. She tripped and fell, and when she looked up, she saw a ghastly child standing before her, its eyes weeping blood. The child's mouth opened impossibly wide, releasing a blood-curdling scream that seemed to fracture reality itself. Sarah felt her sanity slipping as the wailing grew louder, more insistent. Mark yanked her up, and they ran, but there was no escape. Ghostly hands reached out from every direction, their touch freezing and fatal. The couple's screams melded with those of the spirits, creating a cacophony of torment that echoed across the graveyards.